You think you want discipline until it starts taking things from you. Not just comfort, not just sleep. It takes your excuses first. Then it takes your cravings, and eventually it takes your identity, the version of you that needs applause to move. That's the terrifying part. True discipline doesn't feel like motivation. It feels like losing friends and not flinching. Most people say they want a 100-day challenge because it sounds clean, a box you can tick, a heroic story you can tell. But the reality is uglier, quieter, and far more personal. Because the real challenge isn't the habit, it's the social cost. It's the day you say no again and again, and people stop inviting you. It's the day you realize your old life was built on other people's approval, and your new life is built on your own word. There's a Japanese idea called shu-ha-ri. At first you obey the form, then you break it, then you transcend it. And discipline, real discipline, follows the same path. In the beginning, you need structure like a crutch. You need rules, a schedule, a simple vow. But if you keep going, you enter the second phase, where the rules start breaking you back, where the form exposes your weaknesses, where your personality fights to survive. And that's where most people quit. Because the scariest reality of true discipline is this: it will not negotiate with you. It doesn't care that you had a hard day. It doesn't care that you feel misunderstood. Discipline is not a friend, it's a contract. And the contract is written in one language: consistency. Let me tell you what a 100-day challenge actually becomes, if you do it the right way. At first, it's excitement. You set the goal. You clean your desk, you buy the notebook, you tell yourself, this time I'm serious. You're high on the idea of the new you. Then day 7 hits, or day 12. The novelty dies. Your brain stops rewarding you for being a person who tries, and now you're simply a person who must do the work. This is the phase where you start bargaining. I'll do it later. I'll do double tomorrow. I deserve a break. And if you're honest, those sentences don't come from logic. They come from identity protection. Your mind is trying to keep the old version of you alive, the version that avoids discomfort, the version that wants progress without sacrifice. Here's the first ruthless truth. Discipline is not built when you feel strong. It's built when you feel small, when you'd rather disappear, when you feel like you're behind everyone else, when you feel like nothing is changing. That's the moment the muscle grows quietly. Now let's talk about the social sacrifice, because this is where people pretend they're ready, and then discover they're not. You will lose time with people, not because you hate them, but because you chose something that demands your best hours, and your best hours are always the ones other people want to borrow. The weekends, the nights, the lazy mornings, the spontaneous invitations. You'll start turning down things that used to make you feel normal, and at first your friends will laugh. They'll tease you, they'll call you extreme, they'll say, come on, one night won't kill you, and they're right, one night won't kill you, and they're right, one night won't kill you. That's why it's so dangerous. Because what kills discipline isn't a catastrophic failure. It's a small exception that teaches your brain a new rule. My word is flexible. And once your word becomes flexible, your future becomes negotiable. Then you don't have a challenge, you have a mood-based lifestyle. And moods don't build anything. Let that sink in. A 100-day challenge is not a fitness plan or a productivity experiment. It's an identity trial. It's you standing in front of your own promises every day and deciding whether you respect yourself. And this is where I need to give you one statistic that should honestly scare you. Studies often cited in behavior research and everyday productivity discussions suggest that roughly 80% of people abandon New Year's resolutions by the second week of February. Think about what that implies. Most people don't fail because their goal is impossible. They fail because they can't endure being uncomfortable while nobody claps. So how do you become the exception? You need a system that does not depend on emotion. A system that assumes you will feel tired, bored, doubtful, lonely, and still moves you forward. Here's the direct promise I'm making to you today. If you follow what I'm about to say, you will not only complete a 100-day challenge, you will become the type of person who finishes things, even when life gets messy, even when nobody notices, even when it stops being fun. The system begins with one decision. You will choose ruthless consistency over intense effort. Most people try to win with intensity. They do a huge workout. They study for 5 hours. They journal 3 pages. They meditate for an hour. They try to prove they've changed. But discipline doesn't care about proof. Discipline cares about repetition. Your nervous system learns through repetition. Your identity forms through repetition. Your confidence grows through repetition. So the method is this. You choose a daily minimum that is so embarrassingly doable that it removes negotiation. And then you do it every day for 100 days, especially on the days you want to do the opposite. Not because it's impressive, because it's irreversible. If your challenge is fitness, your minimum might be 20 minutes of movement. Not a perfect workout. Movement every day. If your challenge is learning, your minimum might be 30 minutes of deep study. Not browsing, not collecting information. Deep study every day. If your challenge is creating, your minimum might be 300 words, not when inspiration hits every day. Now, here's where the terrifying part returns. Once you start doing this, your life will reorganize around the habit, and that means something else must be removed. You can't add a new identity on top of an old schedule and expect it to survive. Something has to die. Usually, it's your availability, your casual scrolling, your open-ended nights, your just-in-case social time, and you will feel the loss. You'll feel it when your phone buzzes and you don't answer because you're in the middle of your work. You'll feel it when you leave early or you don't go at all because tomorrow's routine matters more than tonight's comfort. You'll feel it when someone says, "You've changed," and you can't even tell if they mean it as a compliment or a warning. This is why true discipline is terrifying. It forces you to choose your future over your image. So let's make it practical. Here's how you apply this starting today. Step 1 is the vow. One sentence, out loud, simple, concrete. For 100 days, I will do X daily, no matter what. Not, I'll try. Not as long as I feel okay. No escape hatches. Step 2 is the anchor time. Pick the same time every day if you can. Your brain loves predictability. If your day is chaotic, anchor it to something that always happens. Right after you brush your teeth, right after you drink coffee, right after you come home. You're not relying on motivation. You're attaching behavior to a trigger. Step 3 is the 2-tier rule. Minimum plus optional. Minimum is non-negotiable. Optional is what you do when you have more energy. This is how you avoid the all-or-nothing trap. Because discipline isn't go hard. Discipline isn't go hard. Discipline is never miss. Step 4 is the sacrifice list. You write down 3 things you will reduce for 100 days to protect this challenge. Not forever. For 100 days. Maybe it's alcohol. Maybe it's gaming. Maybe it's late-night conversations that always drag on. Maybe it's late-night conversations that always drag on. Maybe it's social media. You don't need to hate these things. You just need to stop letting them own your best hours. Now I want to warn you about the mistakes, because the mind is clever. It will sabotage you while pretending it's helping. Mistake 1 is making the challenge too heroic. You choose a goal that flatters your ego instead of shaping your life. Then the moment you can't keep up, you collapse in shame. Choose a goal you can survive. The hero story comes later. Mistake 2 is looking for permission. You tell too many people. You explain too much. You debate your plan. And then someone doubts you, and you start trying to prove yourself instead of doing the work. If you want to be disciplined, stop asking the crowd to bless your path. Quiet consistency is stronger than public vows. Mistake 3 is using "life happened" as a loophole. Yes, life will happen. That is the point. Discipline is the skill of continuing while life happens. The only question is, did you keep your minimum? If you did, you're still alive in the challenge. If you didn't, the challenge is now optional in your mind. Mistake 4 is treating the 100 days as punishment. If you see it as suffering, you'll crave escape. Instead, treat it like training. You're learning to become the kind of person who doesn't break agreements with yourself. That's not punishment, that's power. Now here's the final piece, the part that most people can't handle. You will reach a day when you realize the challenge is no longer hard, and that will scare you. Because if it's not hard anymore, you can't use struggle as an excuse for why you're special. You can't romanticize your pain. You can't keep telling yourself you're trying. You'll simply be doing it. And that's when discipline reveals its real purpose. It's not to make you suffer. It's to make you reliable to yourself. When you become reliable, your confidence changes. Not the loud confidence, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't need to talk. The kind that makes decisions quickly because you trust your follow-through. So here is your 100-day challenge, specific and simple, starting now. Pick one behavior that would change your life if it became automatic. 1, not 5. Write your minimum something you can do, even on your worst day. Choose your anchor time. Write your sacrifice list, 3 things you reduce for 100 days. Then take the first action step immediately after this video ends. Open a note, type your vow in 1 sentence, and set a daily alarm with the exact label of your minimum. Not work out, not study. The minimum. 20-minute walk, 30-minute deep study, 300 words. And one more thing. Tonight, before you sleep, do day 1. Even if it's late. Even if it's imperfect. Because your brain needs the proof that you start when you say you'll start. You don't need more inspiration. You need a harder relationship with your own word. So let me ask you, and be honest with yourself, what are you willing to lose for 100 days to gain the life you keep saying you want? And in the comments, tell me your vow in 1 sentence. What is your 100-day minimum starting today?